3, 2, 1. It's time. One and all, we've returned for the third game of this curious matchup, this curious game mode. We've got Keeping It Up coming in with the quality games. And wait a second. Where's his other castle? Am I blind? I only see 4 castles for Puppy Paw. Wait, what? Do we have a spawn issue? There's meant to be 5 castles and 5 kills. I'm confused right now. I'm pretty sure Puppy Paw only has 4 castles. On the sacred side? Oh my god, it's just hidden there. Oh, that is so crafty. Oh my god, that is like the most secure sacred site I think I've ever seen in Age of Empires 4. Yeah, so for those just tuning in, this is a brand new game mode which we've concocted for the Hymns Cup. A number of castles will spawn at the beginning of the game. Your goal is to kill a certain amount of those. Now, game number 3, we've really upped the ante. Before, you could take out half the castles, win the game. Now, you have to kill all of the castles. So 5 castles spawn per player, 5 must be killed. The first one to achieve that wins the game. Landmarks will not win you the game. Oh my god, I was so worried for a second there. I had this happen to me before because another interesting thing, guys, is the castles, they have very small icons. So if they spawn on, for example, a deer pack, you won't see them. So yeah, it can actually trick you a lot. And thank you, Grim. I think I messaged you back. I think we already set one up in the end. Sorry, I should have told you. Oh, what a curious one we've got here, though. So predictions coming in. It looks like a lot of people believe in Anatan, who's on the Abbasids on the other side. Let me flip the score, actually. Sorry about that. Today is like kind of a panic for me to try and make sure everything is working nicely. But I think we're going to find the recipe. This is the idea of like creating different versions of this game to game with different amounts of castles. I want to find out what works best. Because then maybe we could look at including it in a different tournament. English is interesting here. So I know what people are thinking already. Oh my god, I can spawn out of the castle and get all this army. You can't. That ability is disabled until Castle Age. We were worried about that. We thought about that. And I'm wondering if actually we finally have a macro game. You already see the adaptation, right? That Anatan went for Abbasids. The previous 2 games, he went for civs that could leverage their position early. So game 1, he chose Shushi because they're very good at FCing and they can supervise for trebuchets. And then game 2, he chose Japanese because their castles are the strongest in the game due to the rocket launcher. G3 Abbasids don't really have any clear strong play. And with Ego Wing coming in, I think his goal is to take advantage of the fact that you have to kill all castles this time to build up his economy. Did any of the mods try to see how this game mode spawns in Black Forest? No, because we're not insane. Culture Wing Healing? I thought about Culture Wing Healing. It's like not crazy though. And a while ago, they changed that right there, the medical centers, to affect TCs. So the castles aren't as important as they once were. Another thing that's kind of interesting about this is I guess you're a lot more inclined to come out onto pocket resources. Like, here's the thing. Someone could be like, KP, this is terrible. I hate castles. Why are there so many castles? I bet they're the same person that said they hate the Pro Scouts meta. I think we've solved Pro Scouts. I just thought about this. Like, do you really want to be doing PS? I mean, we did see it in G1. But it's not a reliable idea, right? Like, it can feel quite risky. I wonder, does Puppy Paw just go for a fast castle build here? Another thing that's kind of interesting is with the way the map spawns, you can kind of quickly adapt your strategy. So, for example, if you get really good spawns towards relics, you might be more inclined to play for an FC build. But if you get blocked out of them, then TC booming seems a lot more desirable. I think overall the spawns were kind of reasonable. I'd say there's an edge for Anatan in terms of where the relics have shown up due to his keep spawns. But then again, the trade-off is like, when you're Puppy Paw, you've got a better placement for sacred sites. You could actually capture all 3 without the castles touching you. And that's important as well, remember, because you cannot build other castles. What you have is what you get. Can't rebuild the lost ones. You can only repair them. And castle spawn on a cliff? Yep, I've had that happen before. That's why we were very careful about the maps we selected as well, in terms of Dry Arabia, Lipany, which is EGC Lipany, by the way, and Gorge. Anno? Whoops. Wasn't expecting that on the high ground, so it does get taken down. And second TC now coming in. With it being dropped on the stone, it looks like Anatan is going to be spamming quite a lot of town centers here. So I wonder, is there value in like just kind of blobbing trash tier units and ramming with the bastards in this one? I wonder if you don't even think too much about the castles now. So part of the reason we've done a mixture of kill all castles and only kill some castles is we wanted to have these games where people felt like they could be all in aggressive, but then also have a nice design around games where they needed to be a little bit more long-term strategically minded. This is a great start, by the way. Puppy Paw. Just raiding in. Classic King, man. I almost forgot this guy existed. It's been so long since we've seen an English pick that hasn't just been a cheesy Lombo rush or playing water. Looks like we are going to get 2 TC from Puppy Paw. Just the classic way of English. It is going to be the King's Palace. Everything pretty orderly so far, as you'd expect. I do wonder if this is going to turn into a trap again. There is like a slight paranoia in my brain. It's going to be trap spamming. Ooh, Hussein. You know what? Hussein's the creator of this mod, by the way. You know what I was just thinking would be cool? If there was a way to... Is there a way to have the castle win condition not matter? But then have like Regicide turned on. That could make for an interesting experimentation as well. So 30 TC now from Anno. Like these just kind of laming the deer, shoving them away. And yeah, the English TC, the English castles cannot produce currently. So you see they have the inability to do so. Ah, interesting. Yeah, so you can actually set up what we just talked about, where you make it basically regicide. You just set the castle count higher than the castles that spawn. Might have to try that. I think that's quite intriguing. Just kind of like a Mario, sorry, the princess, the next castle type thing. So Puppy Ball has reached the age up, and he can actually just save on production. You can see he's got access to them all here. So if he wants to start spamming knights, he already has stables, and some of them forwardly locate. And wouldn't be a bad idea, actually. So Anatan has got exposure, maybe, what, towards the backside of the deer? Wait, he's going 4 TC? All right, this guy's a madman. So the weird thing is, like, he's built a lot of TCs just condensed. It's kind of his own protection, but it's not playing towards the castles. I thought he might actually build the TCs out always towards the castle placements. I mean, I'm not surprised he's being greedy here. It just feels like Puppy Paw's doing the same. Yeah. Okay, I think we've achieved part of our goal of changing the perception of what their win conditions are. Because now we've got them both just greeting, just in different forms. Okay, I may have spoken too soon. Puppy Paw's moving out for the siege. I think like the idea of just building maybe only 2 trebuchets while still grading could be smart here. Because then you can slowly approach a win condition without fully all-inning. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. And you are correct. The trebuchets could produce out of the castle. But I don't think Puppy Paw has realized. No. Huh? I think he just hasn't clocked it. Oh, man, this is like awkward, right? Because they've only had a few days to get hands on before we got into this. So you're kind of trying to theorycraft and test certain things. And I think what happened here is probably Puppy Paw thought about English, he spawned them, saw, oh, okay, like nothing here. Or read the tooltip in the game mode menu and saw that he couldn't spawn units. It's like, okay, that's pointless. But I can still use these for the aura and the attack. And Anatan really wants the golden age. Which makes sense because of the torch armor. Remember the House of Wisdom effect? Like, yes, you're going to increase it, but the other thing it does is it ends up giving you fire armor. That's some commitment, man. All right, we do now. Like, the funny thing is, if you didn't know he was playing Abbasids and you looked at the minimap, you would think Anatan had picked Byzantines, right? Like, it just looks like he's drawing in aqueducts. Oh my god. Now, Anatan hasn't actually chosen to go on the attack yet at all. Interesting. Poppy's going fast in. This was to be expected, right? Like, just gradually trickle a bit of siege so you can approach that win condition we talked about. But then don't forget you need to be greedy. Yeah, it's kind of funny how much the perception changes and how they play the game. When you can't just say, oh, I only need to kill like half the castles. Like, it's a completely different ball game at that point. I wonder, does Poppy Paw... Nah, there's no value in Berkshire, right? Like, it has to be Wingard. That's going to give them Wingard Raiders to open up with, and then you can follow up with just passively almost getting into trebuchets, it feels like, with how cheap they are. We do have Knights now being produced, and they're being produced at home. Oops. All right, I think we're about to like double the match length of our games here. Oh dear. I mean, we were worried, so I guess this is resolving the problem. A little bit raid attempt in. I wonder if Poppy Paw would have played this differently if he knew about the knight production out of the castles. It's tricky because, like, do you really have the resources to afford that many? A little bit of chip damage being done here. Anatan is now ahead by 30 villages. This is getting a bit silly. He's on his way into castle finally with the culture wing. So, I think we might be seeing some siege now. Medical centers could be viable here. Another thing is, I wonder if Anatan considered the possibility of trade. Like, he actually has a very good keep spawn line for trade, I think. Yeah, he could have. What is interesting is actually watching English not just build farms. Wholly reliant on the deer. Poppy's cooked? I don't know about that. I mean, it's only 40 more villages almost. What's he gonna do? Torch my castles? So you guys are like underrating the power of Reboldiquins. I never doubt the English. Because you gotta rush these down, right? Don't want to be getting into a treb war with the Civ that has shattering project. You're probably not gonna get shattering projectiles. Castle though. Wait, what happened to the castle? I think there was like a whole middle and bottom of that building that was just missing. That was the funkiest castle death animation I think I've ever witnessed. So 1 down, 4 to go. And Poppy Paw, I love this. You can just now wheel over to the central castle and start sieging the castle right next to him, and then maybe even edge towards the northern one. Yeah, because he can hug this. Now this... Okay, are we good? Yo, I'm getting confused now. So we replaced the USB cable and the plug for our setup. So that basically like leaves either the mic itself or the Wave XLR. Sounds like a wiring issue. That's what I'm wondering, but like I don't know where the issue would be with the wire. I'll have to have a look later. It's probably a good thing. People are sick of hearing my voice. It just gives them a break. Okay, Anna is blobbing a lot of melee here. We do have melee wing on the way, so it's going to be a hop and a skip and a jump into Imp. And Puppy Paw doesn't go for the siege, guys. He actually goes for the footman. Which makes sense. So his thought right now is his opponent is going to try to kill him by sniping with horsemen. And footmen are specifically very good against cav. Weirdly enough. Yeah, reminder, the footmen come with bonus damage up against cavalry. It increases their damage by 25%. Why didn't Puppy collect the relics? I think he was just kind of fixated on getting rid of one or two of the castles and getting up as quickly as possible. Does Puppy Paw even know where the enemy keeps are? Because the Trebs are on a bit of a coffee break, so he's going to be moving in now. And sometimes I wish there was a way of assigning a different icon on the minimap to make these castles easier to define. That horseman also now rotating around the back. Remember, Anatan just scouted through here, so he knows that Puppy Paw has a lot of economy in this corner and great reaction out of the Canadian. Backs away before it becomes a real problem. Tech out complete, and we're straight into Culverins. See, and you guys like, we need to ban Trebs. See, look how diverse the game is. They're now building a different siege weapon. We're hearing riders in on the farms, and Puppy Paw, he never started building spears, so he has no counter blocker to this. I guess this is like Puppy Paw on the clock then. It's starting to feel that way. He has got Wingguard Raiders being queued up, but they're not going to be out quick enough, but he probably hemorrhages like, what, probably 10, 20 workers here. He has at least moved some of his economy out towards the castles, which is a smart call. I think for Puppy Paw, his thought process here is he could just blob an army quicker, maybe. And there is an interesting concept, by the way. Like, yes, the bastards have reached maximum pop first, but now what? You know, you've got 104 eco, you don't want more eco anymore. And Puppy Paw's got a long way to go into GC, but if he ever gets there, the English have some quite nice perks in the late game, right? Like the Wingguard unit's going to be quite nice, the attack speed aura across the map. Question is whether we can survive long enough to even reach that point, though. They've got Knights trying to siege in. Siege in? Snipe in. Onto the siege, not able to get the Culverins. So it looks like he's at risk of now losing his first castle. Diving with the Horsemen is going to be a big fat L as they do go down. There's plenty more where that came from. So for Puppy Paw, I guess the goal now is to try to play defender underneath your keeps against these raids so you can have a bigger army for the important fight. But oh, this is starting to feel like a very quick show match. Oops. I need more money to get them to play another one. I mean, Puppy Paw has got a lot of army now. It's definitely not over yet. The problem is he's building a very linear comp, right? It's just cavalry and his opponent is spamming spears. It sped up game too much. I think it removed risk is the problem. What we wanted is kind of a realm in which there was a balance between, you know, you going castle or whatever versus staying feudal to try and win the game. But it feels like when you give them only a few castles they need to kill, then they're going to rush castle to get trebs. I mean, giving them all the castles to kill, they're going to rush greed. It's not something I expected us to get right with the first iteration. In fairness, this has already been a little bit more diversity than we've seen at all. Because I was starting to get worried after the first two games. Every single game was just going to be mass trebs. But look, siege. Different siege. And Nano's just wasting his time. For good reason, he's prepping the real army behind this. More hand cannons, the culverins. Not really at the point where he wants to delete villages yet, but we'll get there. Farms still need to be added in mass. Anno's currently up to 40. I mean, maybe there's a world in which Poppy can cinch this, actually. I mean, Anno doesn't really have much of a bio army. The Knights are going to ride in to try and get the Knights. The problem is the villagers are going to be there to try and repair. And they're bodying it. He went for the public libraries. So the villagers have 108 HP. The Knights could not touch the siege. That is disgusting. Anasan, what a play. 108 HP on these villagers means they are a perfect body blocking unit to protect siege. Now they may actually be a perfect unit to go in and kill siege. I've got Knights raiding around the back, but they're not finding their targets. Even if they did find their targets, guys, these are still Castle Age Knights. They take so long to kill. I think it's 5 strikes for a Knight to kill one of these. Unless like Anno is going to be tossing away some of that economy. So freeing up the space for more military. The keep count is a little bit awkward right now. Yeah, it's about to be down to 3 out of 5 keeps remaining. Oh, sorry, 2 out of 5 keeps remaining for Poppy Pool. Now, it's going to be the most defensively placed castles. It's the best chance of defending. The problem right now is, like, how do you get on these gold rings? Wolves. It's like one of them is going to get sniped out. Maybe a second one as they are in range of the castle. The repair crew is going to come through for Poppy Pool to try and keep it up. But he just simply cannot. We are definitely going to have to get him some of those bills. A few horsemen are getting an opportunity to sneak in, but it's a trickle of troopers. The problem here is these are elite units. Hand cannoneers up against a lot of vet units. We do finally have the Knights getting upgraded, but the horsemen, still a little bit of a question mark on this one. And the Culverin count is just quite frankly ludicrous. It's 7 Colves. And Poppy Pot, I think any hope of recovering this has now disappeared. Like earlier on, the military count was similar, but now Anasan has an overwhelming lead. Damn. Culverin's just too good. You ever get that feeling this game mode conceptually might have made more sense pre-nerf Gespringles when they were anti-siege? There you go. GG gets called. Anatan now with a 3rd point on the board. Well, we may be speedrunning to a potential wipe, but don't worry, guys. We're also increasing the keep count.